Welcome to 30 Minutes of Faith. We're going to do something a little different today and show you how we put this show together and who works behind the scenes and all of the effort that it takes as a team to make this happen. I wanted to explain to you how this show came about. When we were down on K Street, we decided we'd like to get the faith leaders' faces and bios and their lives out in front of the people in Greater Sacramento. And so we talked about doing a show where we could interview people and we could show and tell. And at the time we said, let's call it 30 minutes and then see if CBS will sue us. And then finally arrived at 30 Minutes of Faith. We've tried to cover all of the different religions in town. We are a diversified city. We've tried to get men and women. We've tried to cover cultures and backgrounds and all of those other sorts of things. So now we're down the road a ways. We've been doing 30 Minutes of Faith for some years. We'll do it some more years yet to come.
I would now like to invite Bishop John Fish, past president of the Interfaith Council in Sacramento. John?
I'm a little older than I was 27 years ago when I got started. And I'm happy to see so many old friends. That's it. I have prayerfully considered this night for the past couple of weeks in my morning and evening prayers. Sorry, got a little higher there. And as I've considered this prayerfully, I've gone through all the emotions of hate and anger and angst and violence and ugliness. And that doesn't fit the people in this room at all. It fits others, and I'm going to talk about one. So I'm going to share 4 quick little vignettes from my life about things that were taught me as to how to act and be.
Our honoree is our past president of the Interfaith Council of Sacramento, a dear friend of mine, the man we all love and know, ladies and gentlemen, John Fish.
I married my high school sweetheart. We have 5 children. We have 23 grandchildren and coming on 10 great-grandchildren. We've been married almost 55 years. She's the great love of my life. I got enlisted in Interfaith by going to a board meeting when they said we're going to make new officers now. So please vote, and turn the votes in, and we counted them, and I'd been elected president of the board. I still don't know how that happened. But then we did that for almost 10 years, had a wonderful experience, made a ton of friends, learned an awful lot about other faiths, how other people worship, what they do, involved ourselves in lots of events. So it's just been a wonderful experience. The common thread in Interfaith is that we all have a book of Scripture. We all believe we're the child of God. We all believe in doing good, making society better and humanity better. And most of the religions have sacraments and those kinds of things that mean something real special to them, but could be called by a different name at a different faith. One of the things that unfolded while I was president was the shooting in Las Vegas. Rabbi Taff and I were talking about that, so we put a program together that very next night where people could come down to the synagogue, and we had a standing room only group of people, and we asked other faith leaders to speak and tell, just a rally for unity in the community. And I think we've already done 10 of those in 10 places of worship where we just needed to love each other and care about each other and be interested in each other and set aside any boundaries that might have been perceived. The interfaith overview and venue and people is extremely important in my opinion, because there is something always seeking us out. right today, as we're filming this, would be talking about the war and the invasion in Ukraine and what can be done with refugees and with food closets and all those other sorts of things. Those kinds of things happen every day, every week, every month. They're just called by something different. And when the interfaith people can come together to help, it just magnifies that we are God-fearing people. If I could wave a magic wand on humanity, we would be kinder. We'd be quieter. We'd be gentler. All of the screaming and loudness and contention leads oftentimes to corruption. We don't need that. We just need kinder people. Everybody wants to be the emperor and nobody wants to be the servant. And I just think in the world we need lots of people who want to serve, who want to give of their time and their talents and their energies to uplift other people and to help other people. We all need to be helped. At some point in time, we all have need to be helped. And those that come to our aid are the kindly and the gentle and the sweet.
Tell me you want a story.
I've got three and they're short. One is that I'm really thankful to be here. Since I left the Interfaith Council, I've taught 3 grandchildren how to drive. Second story is, when I was 7, my father was killed in an accident. And I sat on the front porch with my 2 older brothers and thought to myself, if I live to be 75 years old, it's going to be a long time before I see Dad again. In a couple of weeks, I begin my 75th year. And he left about 2.5 months ago. That's just the way it's been. The third story I wanted to tell you was when Charles said visiting congregations. I think I've been to about 1,000 different meetings not of my faith. Yep. And in an African American community in South Sacramento, in the middle of the service when they say stand up and greet your brother and sister around you, a little girl about 3, dressed to the nines, stood up on the bench and turned around and faced me and said, "Do you want to hug me?" And I said, "I do." And I looked at her mother. Her mother was, "That's okay, you can do that." And I hugged her. And then I said, "You're beautiful." And she said, "Oh, I know." I can't tell you what the pastor said that day, but I'm not going to forget her into the depths of eternity. I wanted to say quickly, too, that it's wonderful to be in a room with kind people. We're in too many gatherings these days with anger and hate and angst and discord. It's nice to be with the kind people. I'm also really glad to be with friends. If you have a friend, you're a rich man. If you have a lot of friends, you're extremely wealthy. And I'm grateful for friendship and grateful for each of you. Lots and lots of good friends. And then last of all, I have to remind you, we all live in the same house. We came through different doors. So, Serene and Akram, Carol, so many others, thank you very, very much. I'm thrilled to be here.